of our Madras Day celebrations. So we try to give you as a variety as possible on talks. So today we are going to have one on cinema and one on mentions of Madras in journals throughout its history. So both are very well researched topics and both are very recognized speakers on Madras, and it's great pleasure introducing Sridhar Venkatraman. எனக்கு வந்து ஐஐடி பற்றி ஐ ரோட் அன் ஆர்டிக்கல். அப்போது ஹெரிட்டேஜ் சென்டர்லேருந்து கூப்பிட்டு ஆர் யூ அலுமினி ஆஃப் ஐஐடி நானுங்க. இல்லை சார் அப்படின்னா ஐ பி ஒர்க்கிங் இன் அ பேங்க், ஒய் ஷுட் ஐ பி ரைட்டிங் ஆர்டிகல்ஸ் கேட்டேன். நாட் ஆல் ஐஐடியன்ஸ் ஒர்க் இன் பேங்க். நான் ரொம்ப வருத்தப்பட்டேன் குமரன். அந்த மாதிரி இவர் வந்து we have engineers doing lots of non-engineering activities. So BITS Pilani and then Arizona State University, an IT career. உட்கார்ந்த இடத்துல இருந்தே. So a lot of chances to listen to songs. But I know him as a food expert who leads a lot of food walks in Mylapore. And especially the Kalati Rose Milk கூட்டின்னு போகிறது எல்லாருமே சொல்லுவாங்க. Now I have not been personally on his walk. One of the times I should go ன்னு வச்சிருக்கேன். His passions are in teaching, civil activism, food. Have you been arrested? Have you ever been arrested? இது மாதிரி கோபி கண்ணதாசனோட பையன் ஃபேஸ்புக்கில் மெசேஜ் போட்டார். I have been arrested. I am in the கல்யாண மண்டபம் ஆப்போசிட் நெக்ஸ்ட் நாகேஸ்வரா பார்க்க போட்டார் கண்ணதாசனோட பையன். டக்குன்னு ஒரு பாட்டில் ஒரு 40 பாட்டில் வாங்கிட்டு I went there to see him because அவர் ஏதோ ஒரு இதில் நடந்துட்டு.
My mother was always worried and my wife was also worried.
Okay. There was this activist called Nityanand Jayaraman who we did a TED talk with him. அவரோட சுற்றினதான் என்ன சொன்னான், டே அவன் அடுத்து உள்ளே போகிறான், அதுக்கப்புறம் நீ போகிற அப்படின்னாங்க. கொஞ்சம் தள்ளியே ஏற அப்படிப்பாங்க. ஸோ பேஷன்ஸ் இன் டீச்சிங், சிவில் ஆக்டிவிசம், ஃபுட், ஃபிலிம், மியூசிக். He has been associated with social media since 1990. That's very long. Social media, it's a part of our life now. 1990. We were also associated because that was a time when we started the Ponniyin Selvan Yahoo group. That's when we got people together, and it's been at the time it's been very, very successful. For example, Vijay Kumar of India Pride Project, who gets back all those statues. I joined as an ordinary member in the Yahoo group. So many of us became writers, and that was a time when people got inspired by social media, not distracted. So, இன்னைக்கு வந்து we are going to have a talk, 50 years of Tamil cinema and the making of a people's identity. More than any other place in the world, I think Tamil Nadu's the ethos has been the fashion, your politics, your food, the way you talk, your language, எல்லாமே வந்து has been determined by ஒரு சின்ன எக்ஸாம்பிள் சொல்லணும்னா 1947 வரைக்கும் கட்டபொம்மன்னா யாருன்னு தெரியாது. You'll be thinking I'll be exaggerating. Kothamangalam Subbu writes a song in I think one of those movies on the Miss Malini. Not that I have not read it, my memory is failing, I think. அதில் வந்து அந்த குழந்தை எப்படி தனக்கு பிறக்க போகிற குழந்தை எப்படி இருக்குன்னு ஒரு பாட்டு பாடுவா. காந்தி மாதிரி, நேதாஜி மாதிரி, கட்டபொம்மன் மாதிரி. உடனே பார்க்குற ஆடியன்ஸ் ஃபுல்லாக யார் இந்த கட்டபொம்மன், யார் இந்த கட்டபொம்மன். திஸ் வாஸ் இன் 47, 48. பை அதுக்குள்ளே வந்து சக்தி கிருஷ்ணசாமி நான் ஒரு கதை எழுதி ட்ராமாவாக போட்டு தென் ஒரு 56, 57க்குள்ளே பிகம் அ சூப்பர் ஸ்டார். Kattamon became a superstar regardless of whether Shivaji played it or not. But நான் அப்பவுமே சொல்லுவேன், ஒரு real superstar is somebody who a child portrays in a fancy dress competition. You have Kannagi, you have Kattabomman, you have Rani Jhansi. இவங்கெல்லாம் they have become real superstars later. So இன்னைக்கு we have, I think he should be a little careful in talking. We have the daughter-in-law of a very big musician. We have the granddaughter-in-law of a very big producer. We have lots of people who are connected. That's what happens. When I did a talk on scandals, say 5-10 years back, நான் சொல்லுவேன், எல்லாரோட grandchildren இங்கே உட்காந்துருந்தா how can I talk? அந்த மாதிரி I will talk specifically on scandals. So அப்போ பேசினது அது. So இன்னைக்கு we have these people in the audience. So we are looking forward to 2 entertaining talks today. Thank you. Please.
So thanks for the great introduction, Venkatesh.
Use the mic, please. It has to go on the camera.
Okay. Thanks for the great introduction, Venkatesh. I'm sure you would have gotten some kind of an introduction about myself from his description. But first, let me bring out the nostalgia. Let's see if this plays. இல்லையா?
இல்லை, கனெக்ட் பண்ணி போவேன். 1 minute.
விளையாட்டு பிள்ளை கண்ணன் தெருவிலே பெண்கள் போயாத தொல்லை தீராத விளையாட்டு பிள்ளை கண்ணன் தெருவிலே பெண்கள் போயாத தொல்லை தீராத விளையாட்டு பிள்ளை
Any guesses?
Mr. Asogan, உன்னை ஏமாற்றினால் என்னே கோபம் உண்டாவது உங்கள் உன்னை ஏமாற்றினால் என்னே கோபம் உண்டாவது
Okay, I think I should have brought the nostalgic mood in you in terms of doing this medley. So some of these movies will feature in my presentation. So I just thought this 2-minute thing will give you some idea about what exactly I'm trying to talk about. So of course, a lot of you guessed about Arkay, Mandrikumari, and all these movies. But let me start. So this is about Celluloid Republic and 50 years of Tamil cinema and the making of a people's identity. When Venkatesh actually called me and said, why don't you do a presentation, the first movie that came to me with respect to movies was in Indus Valley to Indira Gandhi. I don't know when exactly, which year was it released? Any idea? 70s. That was the first movie that I saw in the theatre. It cannot be 71. It must be much later. And I thought I will just do a chronology of movies. When you mentioned about movies, I thought I'll do a chronology of movies similar to that particular thing. But it is so vast. The whole thing is so vast. I had to determine what exactly was the theme of the presentation that I was going to do. And I told him, you choose any title. It is okay with me. So he went to ChatGPT and got this title. So I thought I have to fit in this 50-year thing in this particular thing. So people, I don't know what was in your mind when you came for this presentation. The 50 years வந்து எந்த 50 years உங்களுக்கு தோணிருக்கும்னு எனக்கு தெரியல. But the thing is, it is going to be quite interesting in terms of what I'm going to present. Let's see. Oops, sorry. Okay, little personal context. He has already mentioned about me being on the internet since 90. I established some music groups for classical and film music over there. And then I've been part of food and cricket. Okay, I know Badri Seshadri from those days. So he was a student, I was a student. We all communicated with each other. I've been part of the Chennai Food Guide and local history group. And local history group was where I encountered Venkatesh. Passions, he has already mentioned, food walks. And I've done a 5-year project in songs. That was what I was mentioning before. So I have the 6,000 songs. If anybody is really interested, I cannot really put it out online. But if anybody wants to really be in touch with me to get those songs, I would be happy to share those songs. Okay. And next one. So I've done certain movies. So I was passionate towards finding what all scenes of Chennai Madras was there in movies. So there were some of movies like Rathakanneer, Kadalika Neramalai, Anubhavi Raja Anubhavi. These movies, it is there on Facebook in that particular group, Madras Local History Group. So if you look for this particular tag, you will find those movies. So you can go and enjoy what are the scenes in those movies. So these were amazing references. So whatever Randorgay documented, unfortunately, because of the hurried nature of putting this particular volume together, T.S. Gopal was not able to do a great job in terms of getting the whole content. So the difficulty is there is no index. So if you want to really search for something, it is very difficult. You will have to really know every page where content is. So that is something that I thought I could add value if I am able to do some exercise in future in terms of really doing a chronology of movies, taking his descriptions and really putting it in a certain order. That is something that will be useful for a lot of people in terms of history. But he has documented so much of history that you will never find in any other book. The second one is a compilation of his...
Second one, my father, the last figure. He has given 98 pages of interview.
Okay, great. So that is interviews that Randorgay had with different people. The third one, there were two ladies who tried to document the role of heroines in Tamil movies. So they took some content from here, Randorgay's thing, but they also actually have details of what all movies that each of those actresses, heroines actually acted in. So it's a great, see today if you go after my, if you understand my presentation and go search for keywords on any AI thing, whether it is Google or Facebook or whatever it is, it will give you a lot of history. You will be able to really connect the dots in terms of what you understand. You can learn a lot of new things. So that is how I've structured this. And the fourth one, of course, Theodore Bhaskaran is still around. So that is another reference that I really found. But it has been only 1 month of work that I've done in terms of reading these things. So whatever that I thought could really fit in 1 hour of presentation, I've got the details. But I recommend that anyone, if you buy this particular thing, first book, it is an amazing reference. So let's start with where movies started. So the Raja Harishchandra was the first Indian silent movie. It was produced by Dadasaheb Phalke, 1913. It took about 5 years to actually for a Tamil movie to really become a silent movie. So until then it was all drama, stage dramas that was done. And the first, at least the first according to different people, it's Kalidas in 1931. But Randorgay has a different interpretation. There was some other movie done in Mumbai that actually preceded it. But both movies were the first talkies in Tamil film world. So some of the celluloid history from Randorgay. So where exactly did this concept of movies started? So 1897, Victoria Public Hall. That is where some European passing exhibitor actually screened some films in 1897 in Victoria Public Hall. That is where interest was actually generated among the people in Tamil Nadu to really, it was a surprise for them that there was something called a movie. That's where it started. So 1900, there was something called an electric theatre, the place called Electric Theatre, now part of Anna Salai Post Office. I don't know if it's still, any part of it still remains or the facade remains, but according to Randorgay, that was a facade, is still there. So 1905, the Lyric Theatre, that was established in 1905. It gave way for the Elphinson's Theatre to come in that location. Then 1905 was the start of tent cinema. So I'm not sure how many of course, a lot of you are much older than me. So you all been to tent cinemas. But my experience, I've had experience with tent cinema. in a place called Peralam in Tanjore district. So I in the olden Tanjore district. So I had experience being a Tharatiket Asami in that particular thing. So 1909, short film with sound during the visit of George V to India. And 1909, there was a film with sound. Of course, it is not integrated with the, I don't know what was the mechanism, how they actually did the sound. So 1909 was the time. Post 1909, the tent cinema began to spread all over South India, all over Sri Lanka, Burma, and all that. They were all part of the British acquisitions. So it was easy for the people to really go and do the tent cinemas. And of course, it was silent movies. So you don't really have the language as a handicap. So I guess it was all fine when you do silent movies and really show that particular thing. And so that was where the tent cinema was where the economic division was Tara ticket for the underprivileged. The bug-filled benches was for the a little more wealthier, and the chairs was for the top of the economic pyramid. And so Venkaya brothers, so Raghupati Venkaya, he was probably the pioneer in terms of actually setting up the movie industry. This was during the silent movie time. So he set up a photo studio. And the first permanent cinema house was Gaiety, 1913. So 1914 was the time when Variety Hall in Coimbatore was established. That was the first permanent cinema outside the Madras city. And lot more cinema houses actually got established in that decade. Crown on Mint Street, Roxy, Globe and Roxy in Purushavakkam, and Imperial in Madurai. And then 1918, Wellington came up in Madras, but it was only screening English movies. It was probably originated by an Englishman. He screened only English movies. But then in 1930s, it opened up to Tamil and Hindi movies. So 1964, Anand was the first theatre with 70mm movies. So it took a long time for the 70mm to really come. So next is the concept of a boys' company. Okay, girls were not really allowed to come out of their house. There was no freedom for the girls to really go out of the house and all that stuff. So it was only boys who were doing any of the acting. So boys acted as men, boys, girls, women. So they were the actors for everything. So the founder of theatre, Tamil theatre, was Shankardas Swamigal. So he had probably started the concept of a boys' company. And the boys in pre-teens and early teens, they played all roles in a play. These are all stage plays. Young or old, they were the ones to play. Because the older people were not really, I'm not sure what was the reason why pre-teens and early teens were picked, but that was the concept of and they had to travel. So even the boys' company would travel to some place to really do stage dramas.
The pre-teens and this thing, the voice didn't take.
Okay. So they were popular in Greek theatre centuries ago and in pre-Elizabeth England. The prominent actors, you'll find a lot of prominent actors in this particular thing. MGR was one of the people. T.K. Bhagavatis, S.V. Subbaya, SSR, T.R. Ramachandran. Shivaji was also there. T.K. Shanmugam, M.K. Radha, M.R. Radha, Balaya, Thangavelu, M.K.T., N.S.K., T.R. Mahalingam, S.V. Venkatraman. So all these people actually learnt by actually being in stage plays as part of the boys' company. So interesting factoids, movies from Madras was screened everywhere. So language was not a problem. So taking a movie and going somewhere and screening it is not going to be a problem. But how would people actually understand it? In a silent movie, it's quite impossible if you don't really follow the what they are acting. It is important for them to really follow certain script, either in written form or somebody telling them what exactly was the story. So they used intertitles or title cards, which was written in more than one language. If it went to Hindi land, it was Hindi cards. If it was going to Telugu, it was Telugu cards and those kinds of things. And there was a good night or namaskar at the end to really finish off this particular thing. And there was a use of barkers. So there were people who actually would be there in the theatre trying to really tell the story in the local language. So that was the concept of a barker. An orchestra provided the theatre. There was no sound. So if there was going to be some kind of a dance or something like a music that is going to be played, it was provided through an orchestra at the theatre. So maybe they had the orchestras at every theatre where the movie was being played. Live dancing and wrestling shows on stage due to American influence. So there was a lot of American influence coming into India. So there used to be a lot of live performance. And it is not something that everybody would like also. There was a lot of bad... I'm sorry?
They would just stop the movie.
I don't know. People who are older should know.
Projector would get heated. So on the intermission, they will have a wrestling or a dance. That's what happened.
No, to keep people entertaining also. There was a variety of ways that what was done.
When they make like one projector, so they have to change the reels. So they'll unload one reel and put another, and that will take some time. That was the time in tea, biscuits, and this thing.
And there can be probably better ways of really attracting the audience using those things rather than the movie also. So you never know. And who would be the censor? It was a commissioner of police, who was usually probably a British guy, and they had different criteria for issuing the censor certificate. Okay, and who was actually the commissioner of police could not really go to every studio, so he would actually employ a constable to really go to the studio. Constable would go and the directors or producers would really show that particular thing and try to convince them that they need a certificate. So that was how censor certificate worked in those times. So important personalities. A movie cannot really be created. The biggest obstacle for movies in those times was the financing. Okay. So there was there was no financial institution like a bank or like the government or anything like that. So there had to be some kind of a financing from industrialists or somebody who could really finance it. So Shankardas Swamigal was the father of theatre. Theatre is not really such a big deal. So you take the people around, you do the show. And you can get money even from the public tickets and all that. You can get it financed that way. So Raghupati Venkaya and his son. Raghupati Venkaya was a pioneer in terms of actually doing the movies. And his son R. Prakash, he was actually sent abroad to really learn all the techniques and all that. And he became part of the different teams actually, which actually proceeded with production in later days. So Nadaraja Mudaliar was the main producer in those days, 1915 to 1923. So after the exit of Nadaraja Mudaliar, it was left to Prakash and different other people to really get the finance to really do that particular. And C.V. Raman was another noticeable production person, but unfortunately he set up studios, but he could not really get a film done. So there were a lot of difficulties. So A. Narayan along with R. Prakash set up the General Pictures Corporation. R. Padmanabhan from Shivaganga. Of course, most of the people from Venkatesh's original locations, Chettinad locations, they were the people who were funding these films. So he set up a studio, Padmanabhan set up a studio at the Paragon location. Paragon came much later, and Paragon also went away after a certain point of time. I think Paragon was a studio, was a theatre where Shivaji had his first production in 1962. So Zamindars, Rajas, Natukoti Chettiars, Gujaratis, Marwadis. Where did the Gujaratis and Marwadis come from? Because of the British times, you had people in Saukarpet and all those things. They were the businessmen across the state. So Tyagaraj Bahadur was also a financier. So because of the movies he did, he actually got a lot of money with himself. So he became a producer at a certain point. So M. Somasundaram, he set up Jupiter Pictures. So Jupiter in Coimbatore, Mayappa Chettiar, he was originally in Devakotai and okay, and S.S. Vasan. S.S. Vasan was not really, he was a journalist. So he set up Ananda Vigadan. So he was not really interested in movies initially, but he became interested in becoming a production thing when he actually bought Gemini Studios from K. Subramanian. Okay. So that was in 1945.
41 actually. 41.
Oh, Gemini. Okay. Srilamulu Naidu, Pakshi Raja Studios, 1945. Okay.
Sriramulu was the only person acquitted in the.
He took an alibi. He took an alibi and escaped out of that particular thing. So Venkatesh is referring to the Lakshmikanta case involving Tyagaraja Bhagavathar, N.S. Krishnan, Srilam Naidu, and there was a fourth person. I don't remember that. So Raja Sando was a wrestler from Pudukkottai. So he operated a gymnasium there. So he earned praise from Lady Wellington, the Viceroy's wife, because of some performance that he did. He was interested in movies. So he went for a screen test for a movie called Bhakta Bodhana in 1922 due to his love for acting. So he was asked to do an acting test. But he did not really know what he should do in that acting test. He did a real life wrestling contest and injured a lot of people. So instead of a trending performance, he did an actual performance. And MGR actually took a lot of learning from Raja Sando. And he essentially duplicated that particular experience in the film Engavettuppillai, where he fights Nambiyar. So you will find it interesting when you go and really view that thing in Engavettuppillai.
1965.
Which one?
65.
65. Okay.
Raja Sando was my father's guru.
Oh.
Raja Sando acted with Ruby Myers, the highest paid actors in India then. In Bombay.
Okay.
A lot of movies in Bombay. He acted with Ruby Myers.
Okay. So something got. He was the director for Vasanta Sena, which united NSK and T.A. Madhuram. NS Krishnan, T.A. Madhuram. So this is the book that I was referring to, Unforgettable Heroines of Tamil Cinema, written by those two ladies. This is the table of contents of that particular thing, just to really give you an idea of what exactly is in that book. So there's a lot of information that they have collected, but unfortunately there's not a lot of history before in the 30s or 40s or something. Whatever they could manage, they have managed to put up such a book. So Orphan Girl, why is... So I'll go through a series of movies or different aspects. Each slide will have certain important things to really convey. So that at least you appreciate what exactly has been the development, what has been what trend actually emerged after a particular thing. So Orphan Girl, 1929. It was produced by Padmanabhan. I mentioned earlier as one of the producers. It starred Raja Sando and T.P. Rajalakshmi. So she is considered as the first heroine of Tamil cinema. So it was directed by Raja Sando. He would also direct Nandanar. Nandanar had 5 versions. So in those days, it was only religious epics and different historical things that actually would actually sell. So Nandanar had 5 different versions. I don't know which version he actually did. The 4th version of the 5th version, it was acted by K.B. Sundarambal. Okay, and there was the next version after that also. I will go over that particular version in this particular presentation. So Nandana, Rajeshwari, Devil and Damsel. So this was the first South Indian social film. And he is considered to be the father of Tamil social. So MGR took a lot of ideas from him, apparently. The thing is, you would see, I'll have a slide on MGR. For me to really put up a slide of MGR and Shivaji Ganesan, I need to have some special reason to put them. Okay, you will come to know about it when I actually come there. So what is this scene and who are the people?
She is Esbal in the sister.
Jayalakshmi. Okay, this is 1943. So she was one of the leading ladies at that point of time. I'm just taking you back to the future so that at least you understand the context in which I bring up her name. So this is Jayalakshmi, this is Tyagaraj Bhagavatar. So let us go to the movie Sita Kalyan, 1933. So it was filmed in Kolhapur. Kolhapur was the main location for most of the movies in India. Because it had such a great production center. So you could do anything with respect to the film making and all that in shop. You can shoot with the camera anywhere else, but you have to go to process the film, do a lot of different things before it actually comes out as a production reel. So Kolhapur, and then from Kolhapur it shifted to Pune, and from Pune to Mumbai, Bombay later. So it was produced by Shantaram to recoup losses from Sairandri in 1933. And Sairandri was the first color film in Hindi. Okay. And to give you the context of color movies in Tamil, 1956 was the first full color movie. In the intermediate years, there were scenes of color that was introduced during the movie, but 1956, Alibaba 40 was the first full-length color movie. Okay. Okay. And any other color movies that you remember from the 60s? Kadhalika Neramalli. That was innovation from Sridhar. Because okay. So, but even most of the Jaishankar movies, even some of the MGR movies and all that thing were all in black and white. It was only in the 70s that you could really see the progression to color for a lot of other movies. So that gives you the context of financing, why it is so important in a movie. Because of a lower finance, you had to go with a black and white movie and all that. So
Technology was also not available.
Technology was available.
Till Gemini Color Lab came,
Okay.
send the film for
Of course. The thing is, the cost of actually having a camera which is actually capable of it, processing of that particular thing, that all required. Even Sridhar actually spent a lot of money really doing Kadhalika Neramalli in color. So not everybody had the finance even to do that kind of a thing. So I agree. The facility, of course, facilities, I'll come to it because I have to address it in a different way. So reusable materials that was left from that movies, Shantaram wanted to recoup losses. So he had to use those materials to do something else to get the cost back. So he actually asked some of the southern folks to really come and do the movie. So Ramnath is one of the accomplished directors. It's unfortunate that Ramnath left all the skills to become a producer and lost money and died in 1956. Okay, lot of people in the film world become adventurous. They think they have understood the audience. They can put in movie and recover the cost that they spent on the movie, and lot of people suffered. Even Malaysia also they suffered because of that. There's a line of people that is a content for different presentation at this point. So K. Ramnath was assistant director, and A.K. Shekhar, Ramnath and Murugadasa, these were all leading people in different areas that actually were part of that movie. And who acted in that movie? Rajam, Balachandra's brother, and Jayalakshmi. And they two acted as hero-heroine. Okay, because women were not really allowed to do the thing, or even N.S. Krishnan refused to really act close with the heroine in one of his first movies, 1936 or so. I think Raja Sando was a director. He told Raja Sando, I cannot really go and touch her and all that particular thing. So that was the distance that they had to maintain in those ages.
Their father Sudaram also acted.
No, that also tells about the privileges associated with acting in that particular thing. Not every ordinary guy could really go and do that. Even Balachandar, I think, accompanied that particular group. He was probably only 6 or 7 years old at that particular point. But he had different passions. So he went into doing crime movies. Ultimately, he became a Veena Vidwan and did all these things. But he was a multifaceted person. So Papanasam Shivan, the origin starts from Polagam, where fortunately I was also born in that particular thing, but I was born almost 68 plus 3, 71 years later. So it's a lot of difference. So born in Polagam, he could not really, his father died early, so he had to relocate with his family to Travancore, and he learnt music from a person called Neelakantan Shivan. That is why the name Shivan actually stuck to him. And he went to Papanasam. That is why he became Papanasam Shivan. That was the origin of his name. So teaching music, he was a performing artist. He composed music for stage plays and conducted bhajans on streets. So he went through the hard experience in terms of what people had to go through. That is why you have to really look at what all hardships that people had. So in later years, he would team up with MKT and G. Ramanathan. So some of the greatest music compositions was by Papanasam Shivan. And he was a prime influencer of Tamil Isai. So most of his songs was written in Tamil. In those days, Carnatic music used to be a combination of Telugu, Sanskrit, and all that. So this brings us to Subramaniam. So he was one of the pioneers in terms of direction for Tamil movies. Pavalakudi was a movie. Pavalakudi was the first movie for Tyagaraja Bhagavathar. Okay, it's starred Tyagaraja Bhagavathar and S.D. Subbalakshmi. She would go on to become the first music director. So it was produced by Alagappa Chettiar. It was shot at Meenakshi Cinetone. If you want to really know the location, it is at the place where V.N. Janaki's college is situated. So that became, Meenakshi Cinetone became Satya Studios, and Satya Studios transformed to Janaki College. And that area is where all the film studios were located, because it was adjacent to the Adayar River. So it was probably a better location. But you have to understand, coming back to the infrastructural problems or the resourcing problems and all that, there was no power in those days. Okay, so what do you do without power? You can only shoot during the daytime. And so this particular studio had the access to sunlight, so that was when they would shoot. In the night, they could not really do anything. And they had no production facilities and all that particular thing. So it was only during the day that they could really do. And when Subramaniam actually started production of this particular thing, he had a rebellious partner who would actually obstruct the movie thing. So Alagappa Chettiar had to settle with him to really take him out of the partnership. So that was one of the major problems. And there were problems of crows in Adayar River. So they had to use crow shooter to really drive all the crows when they were actually doing the shooting.
He was credited. He was the crow shooter.
So there was no lab, there was no editing facilities. Film was all processed in Bombay. And Bhagavathar crop and ear studs were the fashionable things. So it was only because of Bhagavathar that actually women got interested in really seeing movies. So he was a prime factor behind the attraction towards movies for women. So what is the shot? Meera. Everybody recognizes Ellis and Dungan. Okay, this was 44. So I just put it up so that at least you recognize Ellis Dungan, and let us go to the next slide. What is common? He did Sati Letavati, Irasagodral, Ambigapati, Kalamegam, Shakuntalai, Meera, Ponmudi, Mandrikumari. Some of these movies I'll cover in the later slides. So what is the time? Okay.
14 minutes. He started late.
So So let us go to the next one. So what is credentials of Ellis Dungan? His first movie, Sati Leelavati, was his first movie. He was a master technician, expert cinematographer, excellent editor, makeup man, creator, director. His mastery over the camera was the biggest asset. Okay, he carried his lightweight camera all over the world. So he started in US. He could not really, he had so many passions, he was not really interested in studying and all that particular thing. He just wanted to really go everywhere. He got interested in the camera stuff. He started exploring how to take photos and all that particular thing. He ended up in Los Angeles. I think Hollywood was active at that particular point. Then he went to Europe, Spain. So he did his education in filmmaking in University of Southern California. So that was where he met the famous producer M.L. Tandon. Okay, M.L. Tandon was one of the popular producers at that point of time. So he shot some things. Once he came to India, he shot Lotuses in Great Surroundings, incorporated in Sakuntalai. So today it is not such a big deal to really shoot photos. Just take it from the your cell phone, put it on the machine, and you could really do a lot of combination and all that. In that particular period, it was very, very difficult to really do all this particular thing. And while in Europe, he actually did lot of camera shots and all that. He entered contests. He made money. He did not really have the luxury of money with him. So he had to make money and then travel to India. And M.L. Tandon, he met M.L. Tandon in USC before. So M.L. Tandon said, come to India, I will give you some role to really play in India. So he was looking, Ellis Dungan was looking for producing his first movie. Okay, directing his first movie. So M.L. Tandon called him to India. But by the time Ellis Dungan arrived, M.L. Tandon in 1935, he was making Nandanar. Okay, Nandanar was such a bad experience for M.L. Tandon because it was a pretty controversial movie. And who acted in Nandanar in 1935? That was later. This is 1935. K.B. Sundarambal and G.N.B. Maharajapuram, yes. KBS acted as a okay. So the thing is, everybody thinks that KBS, that 1 lakh given to KBS was the highest salary, the thing. The context was different because KBS lost S.G. Kittappa earlier, 2 years or so before. So she had to be convinced to really do a movie at that point of time. So the person who was really doing Nandanar, producing Nandanar, had to really convince Satyamurthy. She was a Congress person, so he had to convince ask Satyamurthy to go and convince her. He had to pay a huge sum, and that also enticed her to do this particular movie. But ultimately, the print never really survived because there was so much controversy of the movie that people burned the print. So that particular Nandanar was lost. There was a loss of around 3 lakhs on that particular movie. Nothing came about.
Later she would buy a house for Satyamurthy in Tinagar. Sundara, the very best Sundara.
Okay.
But they made it a flat.
Okay. So that was a story about Ellis Dungan. So this is Sati Leelavati. SS Vasan actually bought the rights for it and actually sold, it was made from that. Kandasamy Mudrayar was doing the screenplay. Ellis Dungan was the director. Madhuradhwani Chettiar, the producer, he wanted M.L. Tandon's help to really do the movie. But M.L. Tandon said, you take Ellis Dungan and you do the movie with him. But here, M.L. Tandon had to convince the Chettiar to really, that he was the right person to do the movie. And it was quite successful. Ellis Dungan introduced, M.K. Radha was a hero. M.K. Radha was a hero and his wife Jnana Ambal was a heroine. So the same story. He had to convince his wife to really do the role because nobody else would really come and...
Kandasamy Mudaliar son avaru.
Okay.
Kandasamy Mudaliar son is M.K. Radha.
Okay. And so M.K. Radha had this experience with M.R. Radha, MGR and all those people. He was one of the leading heroes at that point of time. So MGR also acted in that movie. So Sati Leelavati was the first movie for MGR in a minor role as an inspector. So Manovan was the next significant one that I wanted to present. T.R. Sundaram, obviously one of the greatest persons in movie production, modern pictures. But unfortunately, he also passed away in 1963. His son actually took over that particular thing. It is possible that his son did not really have the great capabilities whatever his father did. And we will see how exactly it migrated to different modern pictures after that. So Manovan Mani starred P.U. Chinnappa and T.R. Rajkumari. So the leads, the innovative thing at that point T.R. Sundaram did was, he actually conducted a public poll asking who would really, who are the right people to really be in the movie. And people obviously selected the popular people. Of course, T.R. Rajkumari was popular for a certain reason. P.U. Chinnappa was popular because of his acting. It also starred N.S.K. and T.M. Madhuram, Balaya, T.R. Mahalingam, C.T. Rajagandam, she was mother-in-law of Trichy Loganathan, Sarul Sama. And KVM started around that particular point of time. He was working with T.A. Kalyanam, and they were all working with the Sharma brothers for the music. So this is, I think it is very hard for you to see what is in that particular thing. This I picked it up from a local history group. It was actually posted in 2021. This is a photo in All India Radio Studio. Right after independence, Buchi Babu actually convened all these people after India attained independence. So this is T.R. Rajkumari.
MKT up there. Then next to him is Ranjan.
Bhanumati is also there. Bhanumati is also there in the thing. Kottamagulam Subbu on the left. Subramaniam on the extreme right. T.R. Ramaswamy in the middle.
NTR.
T.R. Ramaswamy. No, NTR no. So I think if you go to film the group, you can see this picture. I will give you some indications how to really get the picture. So this was 1947.
Ranjan is also there.
Ranjan is there. Ranjan is there. Ranjan, next to Ranjan is Ranjan, next to Ranjan.
And this is Sabhabadi, T.R. Ramachandran.
Okay, you can see Rekha's mom also in this picture, Pushpavalli.
Where is he?
Left, on the extreme left, sitting on the chair. I think this is Pushpavalli. Next is, I think, at least I read it as Jiki, Krishnaveni. So she was not really aligned with A.M. Raja at that particular point. Okay. So that is a mix of people. So it was a happy occasion of independence. So they got together, and this is a wonderful photo that should show who are all. So Nandakumar in 1938, the reason how S.V. Venkatraman actually became a music director, he came to the forefront. So S.V. Venkatraman was part of a boys' company. So that particular company actually went to Kolar, and they were all, the whole production closed down with them not really being employed at that particular point. Someone took, was kind enough to really ask them to really come to Bangalore with their money or something. And so S.V. Venkatraman was spotted, he was there in Kaban Park, sitting there trying to really wonder what exactly he can do. Okay, that was when AVM visited Kaban Park. So he was trying to really find out about S.V. Venkatraman and all that. So he was rescued from there. And S.V. Venkatraman was acting before. But he was given the role of music composer for Nandakumar in 1938. And S.V. Venkatraman's wife, Lalita Venkatraman, did the playback, first playback. That is the important thing. There was no playback at that a particular point of time. So she is considered the first playback singer. And then we had Nandanar in 1942. This was a S.S. Vasan's movie starring Dandapani Desigar. Okay. So this is about MS's movies. She acted on only 5 movies. But she became popular only because of movies all over India. And that was because of Meera. So because Meera had a Hindi version, so I think Sadasivam put all his money into the Tamil and Hindi versions and was trying to make her popular. So that really did the trick in terms of, and that was also the last movie that she acted in. She did not, she pursued Karnataka after that one. So it was directed by Ellis Dungan. Okay, Shakuntalai. It had 40 songs. And the music was by Sudarsanam. He is not recognized for that particular thing because he became sick. Okay, and so the Sharma brothers were actually credited with the music in that one. But this was something that Sudarshanam had a major credit for. So it starred M.S. Subbulakshmi with GNB. Okay, GNB was a great actor. Okay, in later,
You think so?
no, at least according to Ellis Duncan, he was a great actor. The only thing that spoiled, rather, that he could not really get over was his accent. Okay. No, the Brahminical accent. So that will not survive in movies. Especially when you are heading to the 40s, post-independence period or something. If you exhibit such characteristics, obviously you are not really going to be employed. So Meera was 1945. The Hindi dub version. So the picture the picture below is S.V. Venkatraman. Okay. So MS with S.V. Venkatraman, produced by Sadasivam. So Ellis Dungan had to fake himself as a Kashmiri Pandit to enter the Dwaraka temple, because he as a director has to really do the job. So at least these were all the problems in India that people have to undergo, similar to Padmanabha Swami temple, Dwaraka temple and all that. So NSK T.M. Madhuram was supposed to act, but this was 1945. 44 or 45, the Lakshmikantan episode happened. So NSK was in jail. So they could not really act. And the story was by Kalki Krishnamurti, Meera. Shivakavi and Haridas, I did not want to ignore those particular things. Those were all remarkable movies for M.K. Tyagaraja Bhagavathar. So at least I meant. And there was a movie called Udayanan, where Subbaraman, see, on the day when MKT was actually arrested, that morning, Tyagaraja Bhagavathar wanted to have Subbaraman as a music composer for Udayanan. Okay, that did not really happen because he was arrested that night. So that got shelved. And so what happened was, instead of Subbaraman, C.S. Jayaraman was asked to take that particular place. And GMB was supposed to take, for some, I miss who was supposed to do that particular role. So GNB took over the role over there. And so the film failed remarkably. And so the Jagadala Prathapan, anyone remember the shot?
He used to occupy many roles.
Yes.
The first 25 or 6.
So it is a remarkable technological innovation.
That was copied from this later.
So I did this for a music thing. So I had this 4 programs for G. Ramanathan's music in AAR. They asked me to do that particular thing. So this particular song, I don't exactly remember this particular song. But I don't remember.
Ghatasala did it in Telugu. Srikari Govindarajan did it in
No, the technology for this was, you need to have multiple cameras.
Or hide one part. But was this after Uttama Putran?
I don't remember. I'll tell you the technology. So they had to shoot it so that the songs, the music and all that had to sync. Okay, the audio, video, everything had to sync. There was no provision of having multiple clips combining into this particular thing. So that was a remarkable technical innovation there. So who was the other person? Kamala. Okay, Kamala's thing, she was only 7 years old or so at that particular, 7 years or somewhere thereabouts. She was very young. Okay, later photo. It is not that particular thing. So she did a snake dance in this particular thing. That is the description. Okay, next one. So this is a remarkable gang. Script writers. They literally changed the way Tamil movies were. So this is Kannadasan, Annadurai. Last one sitting, Narayana Kavi, Udumalai. Left on the standing, T.R. Ramaswamy. Oh, sorry, K.R. Ramaswamy. And Kuma Balasubramanian. Okay, powerful writers. Okay, Kodambakam. A little bit of history about Kodambakam. How did the name Kodambakam come about? Goda Bagh. Because Nawab of Arcot had a stable for horses in that particular area. So that is why it came about as Kodambakam. So it was a camping headquarters for the British Army for World War II. There was a Madras, so it was a monopoly. Electric supply was a monopoly in those times. So British set up the Madras Electric Supply, built a powerhouse in the current location, what is called the powerhouse bus stop. Okay, so that was the only powerhouse supplying to Chennai city at that point of time. Okay, and 1945, after the World War was over, they had to figure out what to do because they have set up something like a white elephant over there, and they had to really make the money to really for the operations. So what they did was they gave low rates, they gave credit, they gave low rates for electricity. Land was available in plenty. There was no occupancy over there in that particular area. And so the first studio that was already existing before this particular thing, Star Combines, it was the first studio, it was already there. Vahini came in 1948. So B.N. Reddy, the elder brother of Nagi Reddy, he actually set up Vahini. After land search, AVM was also not far behind. The interesting thing was the land that AVM studio stands was actually owned by a Muslim person who went to relocated to Pakistan. So he had to really find a buyer for that particular thing. So that is how AVM got that land. So what are the notable movies that A.V. Mayappan was part of? Harishchandra. So this was the first dubbing in movies. So you recognize what the innovation was and how the innovation actually carried across in future. So it actually starred P.U. Chinnappa and Kannamba. It was the first dub movie. Srivalli was next one, 1945. Elephant was a major star, okay, in that particular movie. It starred T.R. Mahalingam and Kumari Rakmini. And you have to understand this is 1945. Bhagavathar was not there. Otherwise, it was tough to really produce movies with other actors in the presence of Bhagavathar. So T.R. Mahalingam became popular. He was already acting, but he was actually popular. And Kumari Rukmini, after an unsuccessful hero search for Vasundhara Devi. Who was Vasundhara Devi? Mother, Vaijayanti Mala's mother. So they had Vasundhara Devi as a heroine, but they could not really locate a hero. So that was given up, and actually this particular pair was arrived at. So it was also starring, it actually starred NSK and T.A. Bondaram and but how could this, I think, I'm not sure, I have to verify this particular fact. So T.R. Ramachandran was also part of the movie. Kamala also had a dance sequence. Yeah, that is something that I have to check. And then Periyan Nayagi did the background songs for Rukmini. And the shooting was done in Theosophical Society. Okay, then Namirvar. That is one of the most successful movies in those times. It had music by Sudarsanam. And Aluvomi Pallu Paduvomi, Dance by Kamala, was one of the most popular songs in those times. And then Chandralekha. The success of Chandralekha actually transformed the whole Tamil industry. And we were considered almost equivalent to Hindi things and all that. So S.S. Vasan's major victory was in Chandralekha. So it was, the music actually carried the whole thing. Okay. So dance. So we talked about music. music, how exactly it actually transformed a lot of things. Music was already there, becoming successful, making the movie successful. But dance was one of the other major things that actually happened over time.
This photo was taken in 1953.
Which one?
Pesambudam Malar.
Okay, the left one. Travancore sisters.
1953 Pesambudam Malar.
Okay. Travancore sisters, Padmini, Ragini and Lalita. Unfortunately, Lalita did not passed away early. Padmini went on to do a lot of acting. I think Ragini also did not really get a lot of opportunities later. Second one is Kamala. Okay, the third one, Vaijayanti Malabali. So these people actually transformed the whole dance scenario in movies. When people look up to really groom their kids, they essentially have to take the credit for actually showing how dance actually has.
Those days, calendar pictures.
Okay. Okay, Arkay, one of the songs that actually I played, produced by AVM in the Vadapaini studio. So he relocated his studio from Devakotai and came to Vadapaini, and still they were doing the first the studio shots and all that in Vadapaini for every movie after that. It became so sentimental for A.V. Mayappan that he actually did that. It started T.R. Ramachandran and Vaijayanti Malabali. She was a minor. So the contract with Vaijayanti Malabali also became a problem.
The grandmother, Yadugiri Amma.
And within her family, there was a lot of problems between the mother and her mother and all that particular thing. So it's a lot of history that you'll have to read up in order to understand the scenario in which Vaijayanti Mala actually acted and how she became successful. So
First time the heroine was taller than the hero. It was,
so she was chosen after AVM actually saw her performance in Victoria Public Hall. So the Victoria Public Hall played a lot of great role in actually different scenarios. She appeared in the remaking of Bahar, which is the Hindi version of that particular movie. And Ragini and Lalita's dance sequences were added since they proved popular. It was initially not there in the movie, but they added it in order to really make it more successful. And Bharatanatyam and Marwari dance by Vaijayanti Malambali in the movie. Okay, two slides, the last two slides. First MGR, then in Shivaji. Sati Leelavati was the first movie that MGR acted in, played the role of an inspector. The next movie that opportunity came about was Chaya. Okay, the producer insisted that MGR should be in the movie. But the camera team, or I don't know exactly what was the role that was played within that particular team, they did not really like the way MGR acted. So it was more or less shelved. The film never really saw the light of the day, and MGR's dreams must have crashed at that particular point. Then came Raja Mukti. This was supposed to be the comeback for MKT. After coming back from jail, it was supposed to be the comeback thing. So MGR was not really considered essential in that particular movie, but he acted in a role in that particular movie. So V.N. Janaki was there as a lead actress.
they fell in love.
Maybe fell in love, but it did not really, the formal marriage did not really happen for 15 years.
It was in Pune, exactly during Gandhi's assassination.
Okay.
A lot of riots and all.
So MLV was actually singing for V.N. Janaki. So if you see the actually careers of Carnatic musicians, you will see that the film industry played a major part in actually their popularity. So that is one of the big things. Rajkumari in 1948, A.S.A. Sami actually at Jupiter actually made him the hero in this particular movie. But the success of the film was highly successful. But the success of the movie was not because of MGR. It was because of Tavamani Devi. Okay. Anybody in those times will recognize who Tavamani Devi is and what was the reason. So we have no reasons to blame the current day audience or whatever it is. The olden day audience was also let us recognize that everybody is really looking for certain things. So Malati was, I think she was a Kannada actress who was inducted, and Chinnappa Devar was a villain in that movie. So Mandri Kumari, this was Ellis Dungan's penultimate movie before Pomnudi. MGR acted with Madhuradhwani and S.A. Natarajan. But MGR did not really figure in songs. It was S.A. Natarajan and Madhuri Devi. There were two great songs. And Ulavan Tendral Kaatvinile. These two songs feature S.A. Natarajan. Okay. So MGR had his presence as in the court and his, I think, interactions with Nambiar and all that particular thing. But he was not really a major player in the success of the movie. I think it was more related to the songs and all that. Then Marma Yogi. This was the chart buster for MGR. So he is considered Purachi Talaivar because of this particular movie. So Anjali Devi and Madhuri Devi also acted. But this is, if you look for MGR's break, what exactly he had, it was Marma Yogi.
First A movie.
Oh yes, the thing is hidden over there. It was given a A certification, but the reason for giving the A certification was that there was a ghost in that movie. It was not because of anything else.
What is the Purachi about?
See, it is a story. Just like he did Purachi for Tamil Nadu, Purachi Talaivar, he changed a lot of things. I don't know the essence of the movie itself, but he was given the storyline had the Purachi of MGR. Okay, it was I think it was a lift from some American story or whatever. I don't remember exactly, but that was the thing. So Shivaji, okay, Parashakti. Everybody thinks that Shivaji was highly successful in Parashakti, but he had the most disappointing experiences before it turned out to be a successful thing, because he was almost rejected after the initial film shots. So people were disappointed. Whoever was making the movie was disappointed. They wanted him out of the movie. But ultimately, whoever really mattered actually said, he is the right person for that particular movie, let us do it. And they reshot all the sequences. And it was because of that perseverance with Shivaji that it became really successful. And of course, the script was by Karunanidhi. And 1949, that was a critical year when the DMK broke away from DK. So you can imagine Karunanidhi, even Shivaji was part of that Purachi, whatever the reformist thing. Anna, K.R. Ramasamy. K.R. Ramasamy was a disciple of Anna. So obviously he got a lot of chances in movies because of that. And this was, that was the reasoning. And of course there were dance sequences by Kamala, and the script was by Karunanidhi. Manohara, the next one, that was also by Karunanidhi. So these two movies were critical in Shivaji's success. It starred Shivaji Ganesan and T.R. Rajkumari. Shivaji acted as a queen in the drama. He acted in the stage play as a queen. But he became a hero in this particular thing, in this particular movie. It was highly popular dance sequences by Kamala. Music was by S.V. Venkatraman. Produced by L.V. Prasad, who acted in the first movie, Alamara, Kalidas and Bhakta Prahlada. So that was essentially the thing. And that is where I conclude. A lot of history involved. I had to pick a theme in terms of how you...
Mike.
Who supported? Perumal. Perumal was the guy, yes. It is correct that Perumal actually was insistent on the particular thing. When everybody was against Shivaji, Perumal was the guy who insisted on it. That is what Randa's guy version is.
It was released in Paragon.
Okay. So, any questions, any comments, any inputs? Well, if Arkay decides, we can have more. Thanks very much. sure.
Stand at the mic la veranum.
You've mentioned a whole bunch of names,
Ah.
especially the references. But when you talked about the book on the heroines, could you tell us the name of the two women and not just pass them off as two women who wrote the book?
No, I can give you. I can give you the reference.
Mahalingam and something.
Yes, I can give you the reference.
Can you tell us the reference now?
No, I have to.
Hema Mahalingam and I read that.
Yeah, Prema Mahalingam and.
Hema.
Sorry, I don't remember the names, but.
Okay. You can give it to her later.
Yeah.
Give it a letter. You can give it a
You can give it to her person.
That was a lovely talk, and more so the interactive, almost we seem to be a very learned audience today. I just like to add two things here. சிவகவி வந்து யார் எழுதினா கதை? கிருபானந்த வாரியார். கிருபானந்த வாரியாரோட கதை தான் சிவகவி ஆச்சு. அதே மாதிரி பின்னால் இந்த பராசக்தி ஸ்டோரி சொல்கிறாருல, அப்போது வந்து சிவாஜி ஆஃப்டர் he became a very big இது ரொம்ப 70s he was talking to some emerging actor. ஏவிஎம்ல நடிக்கிறியா? நடிக்கிறேன். அங்கே அந்த செடி மரம்லாம் வளர்ந்துருக்குமே அப்படின்னாரு. நல்லா வளர்ந்துருக்கும். அதெல்லாம் தண்ணி செட்டியார் தண்ணி ஊற்றி வளர்க்கலடா, எங்கள் கண்ணீரில் வளர்ந்தது. ஸோ பராசக்தியும் பாதியில் he was almost dismissed after he had been shot fully. They wanted to replace him with somebody else, and then he came up with superb acting the next day. ஒரு அப்படியே ஒரு phenomenal change over in one day, which he carried on for the next 40-50 years. So cinema needs some incredible talent, lots of luck, and you have to be born in the correct time. எம்ஜிஆர் 10 வருஷம் எக்ஸ்ட்ராவாக இருந்தார். எம்எஸ் சுப்பலட்சுமி கையில் ஒரு அட்வான்ஸ் வாங்கினோன்னா அடுத்த படம் ஹீரோ, ஒரு 10 படத்தில் சூப்பர் ஹீரோ, அப்புறம் சீஃப் மினிஸ்டர், அப்புறம் டெமிகாட். ஸோ தட் இஸ் ஹவு தே க்ரூ அப். ஸோ சம் பீப்புள் ஹவ் பீன் இன்க்ரெடிபிளி லக்கி, சம் ஹவ் பீன் லக்கி பிகாஸ் they were persistent. Persistentங்கிற வார்த்தை 2-3 வாட்டி யூஸ் பண்ணாரு. ஸோ தட் இஸ் இட். ஸோ தேங்க்யூ ஸ்ரீதர். We had a real entertaining talk. We'll have a small break of 5 minutes before we go on to the next one. Please to the stage, please. Sridhar.
Sridhar, please come up. I want to tell, you have a lot of stuff to say, but add as many photos or the stills to that, so that all this, it makes more interesting to you to the next, because you had only 1 month to do it, otherwise you would have done it. I request my good friend Raman to come and give you this thing, because you cannot see another cinema buff like him. He must have seen at least 5,000 movies. Or same movie he will see 50 times also. Even if you get 1 hour time in the afternoon between 3 and 4, you will take a ticket, go and watch and then go to his work. That is the type of thing. Until after the TV and has come, it has come down. They are a very popular person. I want him to give this to
Thank you. Thank you very much.
stand.
I'd like to thank Arkay Ramakrishnan for giving me the opportunity. Definitely, whatever that he said, inputs, I'll take it.
Actually, I wanted to do, as Suraja Devi passed away, to do an exclusive program on Suraja Devi and the movies and some of the very nice songs. The person whom I had in mind had gone to Australia. Maybe next month I will try to do that one. Because apart from doing all these things, Carnatic music, I am also interested in doing this. And our photo at the right, thank you. So we will start in another 5 minutes. Thank you.
How to get onto the screen?